Four, three. Hi, everyone. I'm David.
And I'm Richard.
And it's been a while since we've had a Saito summer update. That doesn't mean things aren't super busy. Things are probably busier now than they've ever been. However, because a lot of the stuff is back end, we haven't been as public telling you guys what's happening. We're going to fix that today. Here's a general update. The first big thing you'll have noticed in the last week or two, Richard?
We have a new repo. So we've combined the old Saito Light Rust and the old Saito Rust workspace, which were kind of, full of cruft and also really kind of organized badly, into a single, nicely organized, really easily understood repo. And that's part of a big push we have on just to really tighten up the dev experience. So make it much easier to come in,
Yeah.
find what you're looking for, get things installed, and start
We'll,
using them.
you're going to see the wiki has been updated as well, but it's basically git clone Saito. Here's the instructions on getting it going. Here's the 4 or the 5 things you need to type in your command line terminal.
Yep.
Hey, you've got a server that's running, it's connected to the network. You can use it to dev apps, you can use it to route transactions.
Yep.
So that's what we're moving towards. The goal is September with the permanent loop. Third parties on the network. It's a big deal.
Yep.
It's making things a lot easier too. So
Yeah, I really like the changes.
Yeah.
I suppose we should probably note those part of these updates that we're making. We did have a little bit of, it wasn't downtime, but we had sort of some issues last week with light clients syncing the chain. That came about because we're breaking some new ground, but we were trying to fix issues with browsers kind of refinding where they are on the chain if they've been disconnected for long enough for the chain to loop once, which is something that's happening because of this sort of turbo testing we're doing.
I don't know if people know this, Richard. So
Yeah.
we should say, if you're visiting Saito now, the chances are very strong that you're on a permanent chain.
Mm-hmm.
We're testing it right now.
Yep.
And we're testing it in an accelerated loop in order to have the experience so that in September we have confidence that, yes, it's good to go.
Yep.
So that's
Yep.
what Richard is talking about.
Yeah, and it's this is kind of breaking some ground around having browsers be able to find their way on and off the chain, etc. We're glad that we got that found and tested and sorted out last
Yeah.
week rather than in the future.
It helps having applications. We're up
Yep.
to, I think, about 60,000 transactions a day, roughly, with gaming,
Yep.
heavily gaming. So yeah, it's small stuff like this. The chain's not dying. It's just edge cases where like some browser has trouble connecting, and we go, we can
Yep.
fix this.
Yep.
So syncing issue, NFTs. Maybe I can give an update on this. This is more of the core work. We've kind of mentioned it. The Saito now supports creating NFTs, and it supports sending NFTs. Doesn't break token supply. Token supply is looking really good. What we don't support yet is the ability to divide NFTs and recombine them. This is the work that's happening. We're also doing work with the UI components to enable people to do this. If
Yep.
you are on Saito, you will see, depending on when you join, you may see the NFT components come on and disappear. That's because we're doing live development with it. But we'll have more of an update on this next week. Things are going very
Yep.
well.
Yeah, so again, you need on-chain Saito to do that, but we'll be able to have people testing that pretty soon.
No Saito, tough luck. But yeah, I mean, it's the best
Get
way to
you
do
some.
NFTs.
Yep.
Let's move on. Dynamically compiled modules. So this is something I've been focused on. We mentioned the new Rust repository. As part of that, we've been updating the wiki. So the dev docs have been improved. If you're a dev and you want to try installing Saito, the new repo, the new install instructions, are they super simple? It would be very helpful.
Yep.
You'll also see that the application section has been updated. We're turning the wiki into something of an app store. So people can browse the wiki, see the various applications, and download the module files as cryptographically signed binaries. We're cryptographically signing them, so you know they're from us. And this is part of the process. If you just take these binaries, you drag and drop them into your browser, and Saito will update and suddenly support whatever module you've done. It's incredible. I showed it, Richard, I showed it to Tuco, and he was blown away. He was like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing. And it's actually like, I kind of feel the same thing because you're looking, it's interesting. It feels like Saito has really leapfrogged the rest of the crypto space with this because you can't do this elsewhere. You've got to download some like third proprietary wallet. It's
Yeah,
it's
or
like
just being able to do that and not being tied to the wallet. Just being able to like really flippantly take your keys and your apps and go somewhere else if you don't like your infrastructure provider is huge as well.
Yeah. So it's a big thing for us for a couple of reasons. Just to quickly explain why we're doing it. One, we want to show people you can do this so that third party devs, if they're installing a game or they're installing an app, they'll realize, oh my God, this is really easy. This is a deployment platform for my PKI app. I want to do the same thing.
Yeah,
Two, it lets people who write apps deploy their apps onto the infrastructure that we're running
yep,
without the need to run a node. We're going to get a video out though, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. It's beautiful. We're going to show this to you. And the third reason for it is something you're going to see going forward. We've got a bunch of apps that are kind of moving towards release,
hmm,
and we want to start getting them out in the community. But we don't want to necessarily pack them all into the JavaScript that our server is running. So what you're going to see is that they first become installable from the wiki, and then on things like the arcade, we've got a new module, a teaser module that's going to say, hey, you could install this app too. You could install that app too. And the arcade, where people are going to play games, is going to kind of become more of a general app store
yep,
where you've got these apps that are installed, but you can install others. So we want to get this done. We want to get the experience really polished by September as well.
yeah.
Anything you'd want to add there?
No, I think it's super cool. I just love the idea of being able to dev the module by yourself on a local host on your
Mm,
laptop or whatever, and then just put it up on a site somewhere or send it to a friend, and they just drag and drop it on, and boom, it's running on chain, and nobody needs to bother with the
yeah.
infrastructure pieces.
No
It's
one even
brilliant.
needs to know who you are. It's
Yeah,
cryptographically signed by your public key. So
yeah,
software becomes pseudo anonymous and
yeah, and
authentic.
there's no gatekeeping and stuff. It's great. I'm really keen on it.
So part of this, the application section is developing. Yeah, things are really good. Arcade and experience I've got
Yeah,
here. Thanks to everyone who participated in the TS tournament.
yep,
Um, like we said, gaming is growing. We're going to be expanding the number of kind of game nights. Dan has done
yeah,
a ton of work on poker. Poker's ongoing. It's getting
yeah.
better and bigger, though.
Well, I think the big things there are both look and feel and stuff, which we've been able to get out in front of some people who play a lot, and that's helping us get better feedback on how to make it, kind of tournament ready.
Yeah,
And the other side of that is having the open table work Dan's done is brilliant. So
yeah,
it's possible for us to now have poker nights where you could have an open ego table and an open Saito table, or just an open play for fun table, and people can come and join, play until they run out of chips or they've got to go
yeah.
and feed the cat, whatever it is, and then leave the table. And that's I think a really great demonstration of what software can do, and also it's good fun. It's really nice to be able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I mean, the Saito stuff, the Saito integration with staking and poker is brilliant
yeah,
because it's the native token. It's so seamless at this point that
yeah.
it's all about the UI though, right? So
It's great.
if you want to help, you don't know how to help. What we're doing with the app set is we're getting closer and closer to something that is kind of polished and it just works. And anything that's kind of broken, we're trying to get out, either fix
Mm,
it or push it out of the default experience so
yeah,
that it was just seamless and really easy to use.
yeah. So please do join the game nights. It's a great way of contributing to the project. Actually, just
Yeah.
helping us find any issues and get things
Yeah.
smooth and good.
We've got a couple of questions. Before we do that, how to help.
Yeah.
I think, like we're busy with dev, and I think people sometimes, we don't come up for air that often and let you guys know.
Sorry, guys.
Uh, Message amplification on Twitter, sharing the word, it's
Hmm.
powerful, it matters.
Yeah.
And it's going to be better and better because, like
Yeah.
these dynamically compiled mods in the experience, there's nothing like this in the crypto space. Uh,
Well, I think there's lots of things to get behind too. There's that, and I think you've also been engaging a lot recently with, and it's good to see people getting more into fundamental questions, and there being a bit more space again on crypto Twitter to get our message out, which
mhm,
I think feels like it's accelerating. There are more great people like Ross Green and
mhm.
crypto fundamentalists and others who are starting to really notice what we're doing and spread that word, and amplifying them and helping them amplify
Yeah.
what we're doing when we talk about these things online. And
It
also
makes,
throwing people at us is great as well.
I mean,
Adding us on in threads.
yeah. One thing I've done is if people will start sending me DMs or questions, I'm creating these like mini threads to
Yep.
answer them. So that can be shared with people or it can be retweeted depending.
Yep.
That stuff really makes a difference. We're also seeing that people are a lot more skeptical of what's coming out of Ethereum and what's coming out
Mm.
of proof of stake, because kind of the honeymoon period for those guys is ending, and people are noticing that the things that we're saying and that we've been saying for years all of a sudden are big problems.
Yep.
And so we're looking at a trajectory where hopefully we can transition
I think
from.
that's one of the big causes for this upswell in interest is more and more people, and it's sort of trickle turning into a flood of
Yeah.
people being like, oh wait, this really doesn't work. It's not something we can just optimize. It doesn't work, and they're looking elsewhere. They're starting to ask fundamental questions about why is it broken.
Well,
Um,
a lot of the people in ETH and those communities aren't. They're trapped in a specific approach and they're trapped with models. And that's one
yeah,
of the beautiful things. Like with Saito, you asked them the question, like, where is this revealed to your mechanism? And there's no answer because it
yeah,
isn't. And so the fundamental criticism is you guys don't know mechanism design, you don't know game theory. They can't handle it because they don't.
mm,
But that sort of thing is the outcome of kind of the intellectual sea change that's underway.
yep,
So you can help with that. You can also help, as we said, come and help us test the apps. If you haven't, we've got Spring. Basically, we want to get everything as seamless as possible. Um, like feedback from the poker guys that say, "Hey, look,
mm,
this is not intuitive. This doesn't work for me." That's what's
yep,
driving the apps getting better.
yep,
Um, we see it
definitely.
every day. And then finally, I was going to say the wiki. We've got the application section. We've got a tutorial section. If you're a dev and you've been playing with apps, what tutorials do you need? That kind of stuff. You can help with that. The application section, rewriting the pages, making the apps look good. And then the dev section, just is it easy? Is there anything we've missed?
Yep,
So I'd say those are the three big ways to contribute right now.
yep, definitely.
Richard, did you want to get on to questions? Maybe you can tackle the first one.
Yeah, we've got a couple of ones I think we'll answer here. Other ones sort of have come into the
Mhm.
overall play of the update. Um, this one, first one's sort of what's the plan once we've got full persistence, and we're getting people coming in and using the network in that mode. How do we plan to kind of promote that and push it forward? Will we have a token faucet
Mhm.
or what are our plans? So I think that's something that we've kind of talked about before, but we can kind of update people in our thinking with that. Do you want to hop in on that, David? Or
You go for it. I've
I mean,
rambled.
for me, I think it's really a matter of we have tokens, as we've mentioned in tokenomics updates, etc., for the purpose of stimulating network adoption and kind of ecosystem growth. We're not sure yet exactly who's going to come along and what ways we can help them. We're very open to a public faucet like the old Bitcoin days where people can just come and grab enough Saito to get moving and pay fees. Um, but that may not be the best way. If that's obviously a choke point, then we'll sort it out. It could be with an advertising based version or just a limited version of getting enough Saito to go and use the apps for a while. Or it could be more adventurous, bigger scale things where, in partnering with developers or people who've got ideas for things they want to deploy, subsidizing a token purchase or giving them a certain amount of tokens to help users on board and get going with their applications might be the best way to do it. So it's a matter at the moment of seeing what the best use cases are, where we think there's
Yeah.
the best return for the project in terms of for the network in terms of the growth we get out of it. We don't want to just be sloshing tokens around, particularly obviously undermining holders and so forth. We want to be looking at stimulating real growth, whether that's
Yeah,
in
we're ultimately at that point we become infrastructure providers, right? And things like token supply and management with that's something the foundation can handle.
mm,
Um, yeah, we'll look at it, but we'll see.
mm,
Um, I'm expecting that there will be a lot of ways for people to buy tokens, but the supply is not going to go
yeah.
up.
Right, and I'm expecting also we'll experiment with different things as well. We can't tell you what's going to work. We can try things and refine
Yeah,
what's working and double down where we're getting results.
yeah.
Yep.
I do like the idea of kind of staked gaming. One of the ideas
Mm.
I really like is like if someone is coming and playing a game and they're playing a game of poker, you can kind of sell them the tokens to play at a discount,
Hmm.
so that it's a super easy way for someone to start. But in order to get that, they've got to be active on the site.
Yeah.
Next question is, the apps are browser based, as I understand, but will there be downloadable versions of the apps like Saito Talk? Richard?
Yeah, I mean, I already use Saito on my phone in PWA mode. Most mobile browsers will let you like add it to your home screen, and then you get a kind of app feeling with that. And I do that partially to keep ourselves honest about making sure that things work. There are issues sometimes with that things basically work and you can chat and do things on the
Mhm.
phone. The biggest reason we haven't followed through and actually wrap that in an app wrapper ourselves so far has been as soon as you do that, as soon as you have an iOS deploy, Android deploy, et cetera, you slow down development, and we're trying to be dynamic
Yep.
here. The other reason is we're not exactly sure that people want the Saito as website presented to them in their phone.
Yeah.
It may be that a Saito video call app and a separate game arcade or separate games themselves might be better for uptake. In which case, we'll look at the best way to get that happening for
I mean,
people.
also, it's a business model in a box, guys,
Yeah,
right? Like, if there are these apps and you can tweak them and change them and you put them on the App Store, you're going to make the money, right? So, we're not necessarily in a rush with it. For me, Richard, it's the same as you. It's like we're rapidly iterating the apps, we're rapidly improving stuff. I mean, go
yeah,
check out Poker Guys. It's amazing. Like TS, we've I don't know if people know this. We got a YouTube video from the best TS player in the world,
nice.
and he's given us feedback, which is fantastic.
That is
He
good.
likes,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
Timoet. I played him. I beat
Oh
him once,
wow!
actually. I beat him once.
Right.
He's insanely good. But yeah, so more people are finding out about us,
Yep.
and we want to keep things as open and free as possible. But this is open source code, so you
Yeah.
can use it as the license permits. There's no reason that someone else can't do this. We're not like a Solana where there's all of this proprietary stuff on the inside and it's super complicated. So yeah,
Yep. Yeah, and I think as well, the ability to develop a single module as an app in itself and deploy that on the phone is probably the thing that's going to get most interest, because with apps in an app store, you need to promote them, and we're probably going to find it's people who have something to promote. They have their app idea, they can develop it really quickly and readily on Saito, and then they can
yeah.
start pushing that. That's going to be the big thing. In terms of security, I think there may come a time when we want to have a do something around key management with browser extensions, but
Mhm.
I feel like the browser is as secure as you could want right now. It's possible to have cold wallets and stuff if you really want to be cautious with a lot of Saito. So there are methods in play, but we might want to work on the UI around that a bit in the
Don't
future.
when the network goes live, don't use a browser with 10 million Saito in it. And especially don't install strange apps on a browser with 10 million Saito in it. But it's kind of common sense here. It's like you don't
Right.
import your Bitcoin
Exactly.
private key
Yeah.
into some wallet that's like Joe's
Yeah.
blue wallet. No, don't
Yeah.
do that.
Just
Um,
I mean, one thing, install Opera or some browser you don't usually use. Put your main wallet on that and keep that closed. Is a perfectly good cold wallet.
yeah.
Yep,
So that's Brow downloadable. There's
I
no
think
reason
that's
not to. I mean, there's things like Electron, which they're reasonably smooth. This isn't. It's not really a big dev challenge. It's
no,
just someone
it's
say, well, I want to do this.
yeah,
Let's do it.
and it's more about we don't want to be launching apps and then not supporting them and have them broken all the time. So it's about resources and directing them in the best way possible to get the apps and stuff improving.
Last, is this the same question? Many users
Yep,
at least browser
yep.
based option. Yeah. Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. I think we've actually kept to close to the 20 minutes we always say that we will, which is probably a
Hmm.
new record for us. Um,
So, what can people expect? We're going to have an update next week with the NFTs because
yep,
we know this is important and it's big and we've got a lot to share.
yep,
Um, I'm going to get a video out in the next day or two showing you guys the dynamically compiled modules, and also pointing you to some of the apps that you can help us test that are on the wiki, because these apps will be downloadable on the wiki as opposed to available by default in the
yep.
arcade. So we'll get that out for you in about 24 hours or so.
Excellent. Cool.
Okay.
Well, let's
Great.
wind up. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for watching.
We'll try and be a little bit more responsive with the regular updates, but appreciate
Okay.
the patience.